probably the bigger name of the guys we signed this week. So as we said, Beach made some splashes. So offensively, we'll start with the offensive guys. So we ended up signing Brian Edwards to our practice squad, a receiver from Falcons and the Raiders, third round draft pick out of South Carolina. Big body guy. That was a solid name. Raider fans loved him 2 years ago when they drafted him. Obviously didn't work out there for whatever reason. But then we ended up going to get the AFC West running back who's played with almost every team so far, and now he completes the trifecta. He just needs to play with the Raiders, and then he'll complete all 4 AFC West teams. So Melvin Gordon, former Charger, former Bronco.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, our running backs, we have some of the best names on our running back depth chart right now between Ronald Jones, Pacheco, CEH, McKinnon, and now Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon, obviously, people make fun of his, not be able to hold on to a football, fumbles a lot. It's been kind of his thing, fumbleitis. But proven NFL running back, solid. Broncos just cut him recently, and we ended up jumping on him. So, JD, when I texted you about this Melvin Gordon news, you were a fan of it. You really liked this pickup. So I got to ask you, what are your thoughts on bringing in Melvin Gordon to this already crowded running back room?
So, you know what? I like the signing. I like the signing because he just gives us another element in the backfield as far as, body wise. We know he's a proven runner. And also, too, when a guy has sour grapes leaving from a team like he has going from San Diego to now, the Chargers and, to the Broncos to now I'm here landing with the Chiefs, you give the guy incentive. That's what you're doing. You're giving him an incentive to go against your other team, the one that got rid of you, to kind of run hard. He's always going to try to prove he's still got something in the tank. So I like him, man, as a body. If he's able to give us something, then he's not the guy that obviously when we first seen him at the Chargers when he first started, he's not that guy, but he's still an effective back. And so I think, to be honest with you, with Pacheco, what he's doing right now, Rojo, McKinnon, and then all of a sudden you got Melvin Gordon, it's going to be, we'll see how everything's going to kind of play itself out. I'm still one of those things that Rojo hadn't really had a full shot. I want to still see him in the game getting a little bit more looks. But Melvin Gordon's a guy that is a proven guy that can run in between the tackles, who can get you some yards, who can catch the football. And like you said, he's a big name guy. He's a guy that, like I said, has been around for a while, and we can utilize him if need be.
Yeah, I mean, and injuries happen. The NFL. So, like, having a guy like that who can come in case something does happen, God forbid. But and this is something that I want to ask you this, because, like, through the years, you've seen, especially in the AFC West, when you still have games to be played, right? So let's say, we have the Broncos. We have 2 games left for the Broncos. Obviously, we're not concerned about the Broncos. They're out. They're not in the equation to win the AFC West. But we still have 2 games with them. I've always noticed this throughout the years where the Raiders would pick up a guy who used to be on our practice squad, or we would pick up a guy who used to be on the Raiders practice squad. After we were done playing them, we would end up cutting them.
Yeah.
Is there something to picking up guys who play for another team to just kind of pick up any kind of information we can get on them and then do away with them? I mean, could you see that being a thing where we cut him shortly after the Broncos games are done?
Well, like you said, I don't think it's anything significant like what we're going to learn from the Broncos. It's not like we're trying to get any, intel as far as what the Broncos are doing. I mean, I think they're imploding right now as far as a team. But I think the good point is, like you said, it's all about injuries and what guys happens in the NFL. And look, I'm going to say this because I think this is true, what I see now. Where, when during my time, running backs and kind of, I guess this recently, where you start seeing a little bit more running backs by committee, I think part of it has to deal with, guys are getting hurt, right? You don't have the bell cow. It is a passing league. But also, too, I think some of the backs down today is not as durable. It's not. You don't have a fullback in front of them. So now the guys running down here. It's a lot more zone. These guys not having anybody leading up in the line for them. So that could be a possibility. Guy getting hurt. We see CEH right now. He comes in, he gets hurt, gets dinged. So now all of a sudden, it's like, hey, let's have an extra body here. Let's have somebody that we know is proven that can be the guy if we need to go to, just in case something happens. McKinnon was banged up a couple of weeks ago. Didn't know if he was going to play and suit up. Also, too, we got to think about this. Pacheco runs hard. He's a hard runner, okay? And so hard runners, they're going to get hit. But, they can work for you or against you. He keeps running hard, something happens, he gets dinged up, now he's hurt. Who do we have? And so we don't want McKinnon running in the middle of it, doing those things so he can get hurt because of his history with injuries. So Rojo's another back that you have that you can run, but these things happen. It's just the NFL. These things do happen. But I do believe there's something behind this where sometimes the runners right now, running backs, are just not as durable as they used to be. And a part of it is where they weren't taking the hits. You're not running the ball 35 times a game. And so that I think that it goes into maybe some of that durability and guys making it in the league right now. And so all the guys that we have on our roster, so we have to think about Melvin Gordon, McKinnon, guys have been hurt. They've had injuries, in the past. So, we got two guys, Rojo and Pacheco, that are hard runners. So we just had to see all of that shakes out, man. But I don't mind it. I like the signing in itself. But I do think some of it is, you get a guy that is playing in your division, kind of going to your main point. Like I said, it's going to give them a little bit more hunger because you always want to go against a team that got rid of you. And you're going to play these teams twice. And so if I could get something out of the guy, some motivation or whatever, going to run a little bit harder or tote the ball a little bit better than what he's been doing, why not do it going against your former team?
Yeah. And he's also 29 years old. I mean, I know running backs nowadays, they kind of have like that like kind of a limit, 30, 31.
Yeah, shelf life, man.
Life, yeah. And he's been used he's pretty much been in a split backfield pretty much his entire career. When Chargers, he had Danny Woodhead and him. There's also a few other guys in those Chargers teams. And then with the Broncos, he's been kind of a split guy with other people, but he's getting older, but 29 is not bad. You can have him to kind of spell the other guys. So we'll see if he even makes the active roster. But right now he's on practice squad. And hopefully just to kind of see him, he'll probably run his ass off, get him activated for that Broncos game if there is a need for it. I mean, I don't think we have a need for him to play in any of those Broncos games, but it'd be kind of fun to see him to run against the Broncos because based on the way they ended, there was a little bit of bad blood there when he ended up leaving.
Yeah, but like you said, I don't think we necessarily had to utilize him. We don't have to do that. Mm-hmm. So I think he's a good stash player. Somebody to have. Same thing with the guy Brian Edwards. Brian Edwards is a guy that I know that we have that just acquired, who's a big body, 6'3", 215. He's got a lot of talent, but you have to worry about how come he's not sticking with these places that he's at, right? The thing is, are we going to utilize a guy with that big body? And so I've always said this is kind of a small guy, small athletes kind of offense because you're running to get open. Brian Edwards is a guy that is kind of like the big body, go up and go get it, kind of like an MBS, but much heavier, kind of post up. So, but he's a guy that you can have that's been playing, so the thing is, you can put him in right now, let him run the offense, and then bring him in, make him a couple plays if you need to. Yeah. So.
And we've talked about before, with Brian Edwards' situation, it's a little different than Melvin Gordon. He's a young guy. Raiders loved him coming out of camp. His rookie season, he started for them right out the gate. His rookie season, for whatever reason, he didn't catch on there. They traded him to the Falcons. But Brian Edwards, that's a guy who, for whatever happened with Atlanta, he was only there for a little bit of time, but he was there for the Raiders for 2 years. Raiders have a track record for the last few years with that Mayock and Gruden regime, where a lot of guys they drafted end up going elsewhere. We talked about the Tennessee Titans defensive line, Autry, Mario Edwards. All those guys have left Oakland or Vegas and have kind of blossomed in their other spots. A lot of guys, some guys didn't pan out, but some guys have left Oakland and the Vegas team have panned out elsewhere. So there is a possibility of that. I'm not saying Brian Edwards is going to be this, renewed, this great receiver for us, but there's a small chance he could be something.
Well, but all of that is it goes into your plan, right? So Mayock and Gruden, they had their plan, and they had their own offensive philosophies on what they wanted to do with a guy like that. Mm. And so sometimes when it doesn't work out, of course, neither one of them guys are there, having to say, hey, look, this is the guy that we want, for the future. Mm. And other teams like, hey, man, shoot, let's use him. We can use this guy. We was looking at him before. And so sometimes what you end up doing is you might catch a guy on the back end or something like that on passing, and you go ahead and grab him. And so I think Dallas might have been looking at him too. He was one of the names I think Dallas was looking at. Some other teams was probably, possibly looking at. So the Chiefs got him. And so we was able to get him on the deal, get him over here. Then, much better for us. And so I think now the most important point is how do you utilize a guy like that for the season? And if you don't use him for the season, are you saying we're taking a step forward for next season, right? In the future. And so we don't have to keep going out looking for guys. We already got a guy out here that's learning the offense that we think that we can build something on. And so he might just be one of those guys, man. And if that's the case, then so be it.
Yeah, and that's great. It's pretty much no risk doing that. So, it's a high risk, high reward. The guy obviously has some upside, 4'5", 40 coming out of college. And with that body and height, if he can pan out and stick somewhere, that'd be great if it's with us.
Dude, he's a big, strong receiver, and you've seen him in his running style. I remember him because of course, when you play fantasy, you start looking at guys like, okay, are they going to get this guy the ball? And so, I know they was trying to utilize him, put him in, and then all of a sudden it just didn't work. Mm-hmm. He's like, that guy. I'm like, okay, what happened? It ain't like they had a whole lot over there, so why are they getting rid of this guy, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah, same with the Raiders even before Devontae Adams, and then with the Falcons, there's really not much over there outside of Drake London and Pitts. There's really not much there as far as receivers.
Yeah, so, I mean, it ain't like they slinging the ball around anyway. Mariota's he's running with his legs, so
yeah, that's what he's doing. They got the old JV offense throwing 12 times a game.
Yeah, crazy.
Hi everybody, thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get podcasts.